A large fixed platform, Pipher Alpha, was situated on the Pipher oil field approximately 110 miles northeast of Aberdeen in 474 feet of water. It was built in the early 1970s and comprised of 4 modules separated by firewalls, with accommodations for 240 men on top. Pipher Alpha acted as a gas gathering facility for 2 other platforms in the area, Tartan and Claymore A, receiving high-pressure gas through risers leading from undersea pipelines. Pipher Alpha processed the gas from the risers together with its own gas and oil, and piped the final products to shore by pipeline. 2 condensate pumps, G200 A and B, on the lower deck were used to re-inject hydrocarbon liquids from the gas-liquid separation process back into the oil export line to shore. 1 pump was always in service and the other on standby. Without these pumps, Pipher, Tartan, and Claymore platforms would have to shut down. Directly above the condensate pumps was the gas compression module C, and adjacent to it was the platform control room module D. The firewalls installed between the modules were not designed to withstand blast from within any of these modules. On the morning of July 6, 1988, Pump A process connections had been valve isolated and the electrical drive motor isolated and locked off so that routine maintenance could be carried out on this pump. The only part of the work to be carried out that day was the removal of the pump's discharge pressure relief valve PSV 504 for inspection. This pressure relief valve was located in the module above and out of sight of the pump. As this PSV recertification was supposed to be finished during the same shift, the bolts of blind flanges fastened on the open pipes were probably only finger tightened, and therefore these assemblies were not leak-proof. However, at the end of the day shift, the crane was not available to lift the PSV back in place. When the maintenance supervisor returned the work permit to the control room, the process supervisors and operators were in deep conversation, so he left the work permit for PSV 504 with the word SUSP for suspended lying on the desk without making any verbal or written handover. It seems that the PSV status was not discussed at the operations shift handover. 21:45. During the night shift, Pump B stopped suddenly. Attempts to restart it were unsuccessful, and decision was taken to start up the standby pump, as liquid levels were rising rapidly in the process vessels, which could result in total shutdown of the platform. The night shift crew was aware that the standby pump had been taken out of service for maintenance earlier the same day, but believed that the maintenance work had yet to commence. They found a new untouched work permit for the pump, but not the suspended one for the PSV. They re-energized the pump motor, which had been locked off, and started Pump A without knowing that the relief valve was missing. 21:57. When Pump A was switched on, the blind flange did not withstand the operating pressure. Within seconds, condensate and gas began to escape from the pump discharge pressure relief valve location in the module above the pumps. 2200. An explosion of a flammable cloud estimated around 65 to 175 pounds occurred in Module C, which blew down the firewalls, killing or injuring the crew present in the control room. As a result of pipe ruptures in Module B, large quantities of oil were immediately burning out of control. The automatic seawater deluge system which was designed to control such a fire couldn't be activated, as fire pumps had been isolated to protect divers carrying out inspection. 22:20. About 20 minutes after the initial explosion, the fire had spread to the gas risers, generating sufficient heat to cause Tartan gas riser to fail catastrophically. At 22:50, Pipher gas export riser also burst, sending debris more than 2,600 feet away and destroying a fast rescue boat, killing all on board except one. Then, Claymore gas riser failed too. These risers had no passive fire protection. Despite being able to see the fire, Tartan and Claymore platforms continued to pump oil and gas to Pipher Alpha, as they did not feel empowered to shut down production without instruction from shore. The gas risers that were fueling the fire were finally shut off after 23:10, but the fire continued as the oil on the platform and the massive quantity of gas that was already in the pipes burned off. The crew began to congregate in the platform's living accommodation area, which was the farthest from the blaze, awaiting helicopters to rescue them. However, the fire prevented helicopters from landing. The accommodation module was not smoke-proof, and due to lack of training, people repeatedly opened and shut doors allowing smoke to enter. Some crew members tried to leave. However, they found that all routes to lifeboats were blocked by smoke and flames, and, in the lack of any other instruction, they jumped into the sea, sometimes from a height of 174 feet. 61 men survived like that, rescued by boat from support vessels. Most of the 167 who died were overcome by carbon monoxide and smoke in the accommodation area. 3 hours after the first explosion, the majority of the $1.1 billion platform had burned down to sea level, with the derricks and modules, including the accommodation area. Only the drilling part of the platform remained standing above sea level. In 3 hours, 167 lives were lost, and the UK oil production cut by 12%.